Hey church, Pastor Matt here, coming at you with another missional equipping video. This week we want to talk about extraordinary prayer and fasting. Now when we think of that word, extraordinary, we often think of like superheroes, like whoa, they can do these extraordinary things. Or we think of people who have gone to great lengths and work with missions to do extraordinary things, bringing fresh water to people in need, bringing people out of sex trafficking. And well, yes, these things are extraordinary. We are looking at our lives as individuals, and we're thinking, well, I might just be ordinary compared to those people. And it's kind of how our world works, is that the message is often that there's extraordinary people and there's ordinary people. But that's not the way that things work in God's kingdom. In fact, God is so extraordinary that even just being a follower of Jesus makes us extraordinary. And so while the world wants us to reach for this potential and feel like we've arrived and we have to fight to stay on top, God's kingdom, we are elevated beyond normal human ordinary position to do extraordinary things. Now, that's all well and good and it sounds nice, but how exactly do we live that out? And that's a question that I feel like a lot of people in our church are asking, and I've had that conversation with people in our church many times. How do we go from ordinary to extraordinary? And especially when we see people working with like Compassion Network or Elevate, it's easy to think, well, that's for the superstar volunteer. That's not for me. But when I sit down and I talk to those superstar volunteers, they actually tell me, you know, that was actually me X number of years ago. And I asked them, okay, well, how do we get from ordinary to extraordinary then? How did you go from feeling like I'm just an ordinary member of FCC to, yeah, okay, I can take these steps? And the answer was really just one step at a time. And in particular, just one yes at a time. A personal invitation being extended and saying, yes, I will take that extra step. So we've gotten a little bit off topic from prayer and fasting here, but I wanted to define extraordinary a little bit, because it's not like a leap of faith to go from ordinary to extraordinary. It's actually just small baby steps to get there. And so I'd like to encourage you that these baby steps are feasible. They're easier to take than it sounds. And the first step that we take is prayer and fasting. And so prayer is communicating with God, and fasting is a practice that we do in the church to say, I'm going to give up something and replace that with time with God. And traditionally that looks like giving up a meal or giving up several meals to do a day of fasting. Maybe there's something else that you need to fast to then instead replace that with time with God. And we take this concept that we just talked about of extraordinary. It's not jumping from ordinary to extraordinary. So small baby steps. So if you are someone who is a prayer warrior and you've fasted frequently, then we're just calling you to do it a little bit more. That's our challenge to you. If you are someone who isn't quite sure how to pray and you've never done any fasting before, that's not what we're calling you to. What we're calling you to in that situation is to instead say, okay, what does it look like for me to take 5 minutes, and I'm going to put down my phone, I'm going to turn off my music, and I'm going to sit in silence, and I'm going to listen and just try to hear what God might be trying to tell me. And so no matter where you are in your journey, it's taking that extra step. And enough of those extra steps, of course, lead to extraordinary things. So I hope that's encouraging to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down below.